Caroline Leavitt decided to do an interview this week with the Christian Broadcast Network because, she likes to wear that big old cross on her neck and act like she is the epitome of what a Christian woman should be while lying to the American public all day, every single day. And during this interview with the CBN, Caroline Leavitt admitted that she is engaged in spiritual warfare against what she calls evil forces that I assume is referring to her own conscience. But here is how that weird-ass interview played itself out. She was on there with CBN's David Brody. David Brody asked her a question. Tell me about the prayer briefing before the press briefing. Oh, tell me about how you pray to God before you go out there and lie to the American public, right? And Leavitt responds, sure, well, before briefings, it's a little bit chaotic and overwhelming because there's so much news to consume, and so all morning long my team and I are prepping. The team prayer before is just a moment to be silent and still and ask God for confidence and the ability to articulate my words, knowledge, prayer, protection, and it is a nice moment to reset. Now, before I continue, let's remember that this is the same woman telling us that, I pray that God helps me be articulate. She has been in the headlines for more gaffes than any other press secretary this short into their tenure. So your prayers to God to make you articulate are not helping. If anything, it's making things worse. You're the one who went out there just a couple weeks ago and said, we're declaring war on law and order, or we're fighting law and order, whatever it was. You misspeak so much. So maybe drop that from your prayers because apparently God doesn't care. But then Brody asks another question and he says, it's warfare out there. In Christian terms, people will call what's happening in our country today spiritual warfare. Do you see it in those terms? Kind of good versus evil out there? And in that context, how do you see that? And Leavitt says, I certainly believe in spiritual warfare. And I think I saw it firsthand, especially throughout the campaign trail with President Trump. And I think there certainly were evil forces. The only spiritual warfare that Caroline Leavitt is fighting right now, as I mentioned, is against her own conscience. If she is in fact a woman of God, she would not go out there and lie to the American people every day. And she does. These are verifiable lies. There are fact checks. In fact, according to the fact checker, she's actually told more lies in these first 2.5 months than any other press secretary before her since those types of things were monitored. She has lied more than anybody else at this point in their job. And I don't know if she knows this or not, but there's actually one of those 10 commandments that says, thou shalt not bear false witness. And that's just a fancy way of saying, don't lie. Lying gets you sent straight to hell, according to the Bible. So, Caroline, you better hope that those things you allegedly believe in are not real, because if they are, that's a one-way ticket to a fiery eternity. But keep fighting against those evil forces, right? Or as I like to call it, your conscience telling you to try to be a decent person for once. Thanks for watching, everybody. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We got fresh content every day for you. And if you want to follow us across social media, make sure you check out all of the social links that we have posted in the description of this video.